Hey everybody, welcome to the Slick Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Colby Langford. The point of this show is to help improve ourselves as dogmen and to raise the quality of the dogs on the end of our lead. So let's settle in, turn the volume up, and let's see if we can't learn a trick or two together from our guests. All right, everybody, you are listening to the Slick Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Colby Langford, and today we have Darrell Nickelson on with you. How are you doing, Darrell?
Doing fine.
Yeah. Well, let's just cut to it. And Darrell, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
Well, I'm from Missouri, a little town called Potosi. You know, lived here probably in this part about 40 years. And then about 30 miles from here there's a little town called Richwoods. That's where I was born and raised at. And been hunting dogs ever since. Started out when I was just a kid. My dad, he loved to hunt, and had cur dogs and hounds. And back there in that time, some people probably remember it, but coon hides was pretty high. So $30 was a lot of money back then, and we made a lot of our money like that, hunting them dogs.
Yeah. Speaking of Potosi, I went there. I don't know. It's probably been 6 or 7 years ago or so now, but went over there and bought some trailer load full of mule-footed hogs.
Oh yeah,
from a guy over there.
Yeah,
Nice country, a little hilly if I remember right.
yeah. Lots of hills. Uh, national forest. I live right in the national forest, and it makes it pretty nice. So I mean, I don't have to go nowhere. I don't have to drive to go hunting.
Yeah.
Makes it nice that, when you're training dogs and stuff. Sometimes we got a lot of squirrels. It all depends. It's mostly how the acorn crop goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So, can you go into a little bit more about how you got into tree dogs? As far as was it?
Yeah. The when we was kids and that, like I said, my dad hunted, and I just always loved dogs. He had cur dogs running around. And he'd had hounds too. And them dogs, we'd go hunting, and I don't know. I just fell in love with them tree dogs, and I've had them ever since. I can't never remember not have. I hunted hounds for a long time, but then switched over. Really had pretty well had both, until I got older. Some people say you get smarter when you get older. I don't know. But I know the cur dogs is, I don't know. I just like tree dogs, and over the years, man learns a lot. Kind of, I got to the point where I'm at now that I pretty well just mess with naturals. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know when I first started, you'd have a litter of pups. And you might have 8, 9, 10 pups, and you're lucky to get one that treat out of it, And now, I don't know. I've probably been breeding these dogs for close to 40 years. And now I have actually had not a lot, but a few litters that the whole litter would treat. Have a lot less. Every dog's different. You know what I mean? Some of them hunt harder, and some of them tree better than others, but they all seem like they make some kind of a dog now.
Mm-hmm. You're kind of leading into the next question I was wanting to ask, but how would you say the dogs as a whole have changed from the time that you started and to kind of to how they are today?
Well, back then, it seemed like to me, just like I said, if you could breed the dogs, and you just didn't get very many tree dogs out of them. You know what I mean? They was like I said, if you had 9 pups, and you'd get one that was, but it seemed like that one that you'd get, I mean, it'd be a dog, you know. And over the years, that this is just my opinion and my breeding, have got a lot better. You know, some people might disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I know some back then when I competition hunting that, you know, you turn them dogs loose and they'd go get treed. You know, I think your dogs that I don't I think they're smarter now. You know, like I, I I remember back then the dog be 14 months old before it started making a dog. I've had dogs now. I've got a dog right now, 8 months old, and I mean, when you turn him loose, he's going to get treed. And I didn't see much of that back in them days. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. The biggest difference I see in them now. You know.
Sounds like just a better dog all around.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's like me. I bred my dogs the way I like them. You know, and that's how. If there's something in a dog, like if the dog didn't hunt, I wouldn't breed to a dog that, you know what I mean, it's like that. I always try to breed the dogs that the kind of dog that I like that satisfied me. I always like a good tree dog. Some people, they don't. If a dog barks 1 or 2 times, as long as it gets you to the tree, you know, that's fine. But that ain't me. I like one that when I'm headed to that tree, I'm excited about getting there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like a good tree dog, and I bred my dogs that way. You know, most of my dogs are pretty good tree dogs. You know, some people like dogs that stand back and watch a tree and timber. You know, a lot of guys like that. You know, I like a dog that when he trees, he's got the meat. If the squirrel timbers out and he don't see it, that ain't no big deal to me. You know, but I mean, I've had them that timber a squirrel, and when that squirrel stopped, that's where he treed. That's fine too, you know. But it just all depends on how a guy likes his dogs. You know, that's how you got to breed them. You know, what you like, and that's how I did over the years. And it took me a many years to get the kind of dogs I like, but I finally got there. You know, now I'm almost too old to follow them.
Yeah, I was going to ask, if you don't mind, how old are you, Darrell?
I'm 68.
Yeah.
68.
What style of hunt do you do mostly? Do you road them or walk them or cast them?
Well, I used to. I hunt them both ways. You know what I mean. Most of the time now, I hunt them off of a side by side. But when I first start them, I turn them loose here at the house and I send them into the woods, and they'll go in there and, you know, get treed, get them used to that, and then I break them on the side by side. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I get them used to going both ways. But the dogs that I mess with now is like I don't really sell pups or nothing like that. I keep the naturals, you know, and that's what I like to mess with. It's a lot of fun. I mean, 8 month old, if I got a dog 8 months old, I guarantee you one thing: he's getting it done. You know, he's showing progress. Or I don't. I'm not one that likes to keep one 15 months old and he's just starting to look up or something like that. I don't really. Them days are over for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I usually keep the whole litter and mess with them. Usually by the time they're 4 months old, I can pretty well tell because I know my dogs inside and out. You know, I know my bloodline, and it's an enjoyment to hunt a good young dog that's got a lot of brains. That's what I think. You could take the dog with a big nose, and if you don't know how to use it, then you ain't got much. You can take a dog that ain't got no nose, and if he's smart, I've had him both ways. He make you a heck of a squirrel dog. I always say they got to have sense. That's what makes them, you know.
Mm-hmm. So you were talking about how you like to let your pups run loose. Let's talk about that a little bit more. When you say to let them run loose, are you just letting them run loose 24/7? Are you pinning them up at night, or how are you doing it?
Misunderstood me. I got a big pen, you know, and I raise my pups in this pen, and then I got like I live at the Mark Twain, you know, it's pretty well. I got woods over here, and I send them pups across the road, and send them in there hunting, and then I'll go with them. But most of the time, these dogs, when I cut them loose, it don't take no time. They're going over there in the woods. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when they get done hunting, I put them back up.
Okay.
I don't never let them run loose. Where if they tree, I'm going to them. You know, I don't never just let them run loose.
I gotcha.
Because I feel that it just causes too many bad habits. You know. So when I turn them loose, I walk them over in the woods, and then I get them. When I turn them loose, they go hunting. And they'll go in there and they'll make a big circle, and hopefully they get treed. You know, that's what I like to see. Like this pup I got now, he's 8 months old. He's been treeing. He treed his first squirrel at 5 months old.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I turn him loose, now he's to the point right now where I'm hunting him off of the side by side, you know, and he's a dog just hunts around you. He's not one that if you turn him loose, he's my type of dog. He's the kind of dog I like. He's a big winding dog. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But when they start treeing, as soon as they start treeing, I go to them, and then every day I turn them loose, and then I'll load them up in the side by side, and I do the same thing. That's how, you know. But I'm pretty well messed with good natural tree dogs. I don't have much patience for one that just wants to hang around your feet and not learn nothing.
So whenever you're cutting them loose, or whenever they're pups,
mm-hmm.
are you cutting them loose individually? Or are you cutting them loose in small groups, or are you just kicking the whole litter out?
Now, when I first start, like I got a litter of pups down there now. When I first start, I walk the whole litter over there. If it's 7, 8, or whatever, and I'll walk them around, and I'll just let them do their thing. And I keep doing that. And by the time they're 4 months old, you know, usually they get where you open that pen and they're gone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get about 5 months old, you can't do that with all of them, because you know, then you start too many bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time they get 5 or 6 months old, you know, you can pretty well pick out the ones you know that's got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'll turn them loose, and they go to treeing. I mean, they're treeing by then. You know, the ones that's got it.
About how long would you say whenever you're in that pup phase? How long of a walk are you taking them on minute wise?
At first, I just start them out and walk them maybe a couple 100 yards in there, and just let them play around, and then bring them back, and get them used to coming to me when I call them and that. And when I open that gate back up, and I always feed them, you know, and then that way they learn when I come back. When they come back, you know, they go in that pen, and I don't have to run around trying to catch them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They learn that pretty fast. And then as they get older, I get where I turn maybe 2 loose, and then when they start treeing, I just turn one at a time. You know, I mess with one at a time. You know, sometimes I'll load them up, haul them off. I'll dump one out, you know, when they start treeing, let him tree. I don't like to hunt 2 young dogs together. You know, when they get where they start treeing, I like to separate them out and make them. That's how I do it, one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might hunt one for an hour, and then I'll dump another one out and hunt him for an hour. But now I'm talking about messing with dogs that's got it, not ones that ain't got it. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm gonna guess you probably don't show them any cage game or anything like that. You just let
Well,
them figure it out,
no,
or
if I catch, I don't never hang a cage up. I don't. That ain't nothing but causes bad habits. And this is just my opinion. If you catch something in the cage and you turn them pups on there and they want to bay it, you open that cage door, let it go, and they run down there and tree it. You shoot it out to them. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't never hang a cage up because it gets them tree jacking, and them fighting, and I just don't do that. But I have caught stuff in cages and turned them pups out, and then they get over there and they get baying it, and I open that door and let it go, and it'll run up a tree, and I mean, that pretty well tell you what you got, But I don't like hanging cage stuff up. I learned a long time that's not my personal opinion. It causes more problems than anything. Get some tree jacking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't do it. But I do believe that if you turn them dogs, you take a pup, but once he starts treeing, there's no reason for that kind of stuff. I don't mess with it, but to get a pup to see what he is, if a pup's got it, I've seen this many a times. You can turn that pup. I've had 4-month-old dogs turn a squirrel out, and he'd run down through there, and them dogs tree it. That pup tree it. I've seen them do it several times. And that tells me right there. And then once they do that, all I do is hunt them. There's no sense of doing that. But there's not. That's the difference in your dogs today, or my dogs. I'll put it my dogs. At 4, 5, 6 months old, I'll have them treeing. Where back when I first started, it wasn't like that. You might get one out of the bunch to do it. Now you'd get a lot of them. I think they was grittier and stuff like that. But man, it was hard to get them to the tree. They didn't want to bark tree.
So when they're in that pup phase, are you doing any other like yard work with them? Are you tying them out to help them kind of get lead broke or anything like that, or no other tricks?
I do everything down there. I turn them loose, and then I tie them. I got a big pen, and when they get about 4 or 5 months old, I put a collar on them, and I hook them up to that chain, and then I just walk off, and they do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? I've never had no trouble with them at that. Now, if you take a dog and let him get to 10, 11, 12 months old, and then try to tie him up, I don't know. That might be a different operation, but I mess with my dogs from the time I got pups down there right now that's, let's see, they're 7 weeks old, and I've done mess with squirrels with them. You know what I mean? Let them smell it and stuff like that. I mess with them all the time, and I don't never have no problems with them leading, or you know what I mean. That pup I'm training now, he's 8 months old, and I open the gate, and he jumps up in the back of the side by side and handles and loads and all that. But I've messed with him from pups. If you don't. Them dogs needs a lot of attention. They got to bond with you. You know what I mean? It makes a big difference. A lot of people think use the dog like a machine. You know what I'm saying? They'll just go out there and get them and take them when they want. But I believe dogs that bond with you work a lot better. I spend a lot of time with my dogs. My puppies and that.
You said you've been breeding close to 40 years now. That's very impressive. Yeah. What are some of the strategies that you figured out work good for you in your program?
Well, breed the best of the best. I take, and like I said, I always bred the if I had a dog that didn't hunt, I wouldn't breed to it. You know what I mean? Uh, I like a good tree dog, so I always try to breed to a good tree dog. Never would breed to a growly dog. I don't have none of that in my dogs, and that's how you know. And if you're going to outcross, like a dog, yeah, you need to go in the woods with it, and make sure you ain't breeding to a growly dog or whatever you don't like. If a dog tree jacks and you're going to breed to that dog, you're going to get that in your bloodline. That's what I've seen. So no matter what you breed to, I mean, you better like what it is. I mean, if you want to end up getting the best dogs,
Mm-hmm.
I've got my dogs now where they handle good. I don't have no growliness or none of that. You know what I mean? They started at early age, and but I don't care what bloodline you got. You're going to have good and bad in all of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can take 7 pups, and they all ain't going to be the same. That's for sure. They're just like people. You can take a family of 8 kids. All the kids ain't going to be the same. You always got a bad one in the bunch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And dogs are the same way. But the majority of them, well, if you breed right, the majority of them, you can get them to whatever you like. You know what I'm saying? Some people, if you like a dog that flat goes get treat, well, that's what you want to breed to. You know what I mean? And me, I like a big winded dog, and I like a good tree dog, and I like a dog that stays busy.
How far you like one to? If you're casting one, how far do you like one to go? Do you like them to come back and check? Or?
Well, I like the dog now. I mean, back when I was competition hunting, when I turned him loose, I wanted him to go get treed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned a lot since then. I like a dog that stays busy and makes a circle. If that dog will hunt within 200-300 yards of you and knows what he's doing, excuse me, and makes a circle, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're hard to beat. But I like a dog with a big nose and natural locating ability. When he hits a track, I mean, he's straight to that tree, and it just blows your mind. How in the world he knows that? And go up there and he's got the meat. That's the kind of dog I like. I don't like a dog no more. I don't like a dog that straight lines. If you turn him loose, then you got to go find him, get straight. I don't want no part of that,
Mm-hmm.
I like one that hunts with you.
What's the favorite dog you've had?
Oh my gosh, I've had a bunch of them. I don't know. I guess you mean the competition hunt or a pleasure dog?
Just your favorite.
My favorite. Yeah, I had a dog called Squaller, and I mean, no matter where you shot that squirrel, he'd bring it to you. And I had a dog that I road hunted that called Turbo. And I had a dog called Mutt, a dog called Tank. I mean, I loved them all. You know what I mean? They was all good dogs. I've had several dogs. The good Lord's blessed me with some fine dogs. Every dog's got their, different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can always find a fault in them. And if somebody says they can't, then I don't know. I put it this way: I could always find a fault in a dog.
I think about anybody that's being honest with themselves can.
Yeah. But I've had some. Probably the one that I had that I really enjoyed was probably Turbo.
What was he like?
he wasn't a real hard tree dog, but he'd stay hooked good, and I'd shoot the squirrel, and it don't matter where I was at, he'd pack that thing all the way back to side by side. And when I got there, he'd drop it to side by side, and when I got ready to take off again, he's had a big nose on him. He'd win. He was a heck of a road dog. I really enjoyed him. Then I had a son out of him called Squaller, and I really enjoyed him too. Mutt was more type of a competition dog. You could leave him tied up and go to a hunt, and he'd do his thing. Then I had a dog one time, wasn't none of my bloodline, but he was a nice dog. His name was Grizz. I've had several of them. I had a dog called Babe, Mikey, Tip. I've had several dogs over the years, but I don't know. I mean, now that you said that, I guess the most funnest dog I ever had was when I was a kid. We had a little black dog, and he wasn't a very big dog, but I'm telling you what, he'd tree anything plumb. I mean, if it went up a tree, he'd tree it. I remember I was probably about 12 years old then. And I remember him one night, he treed 2 bobcats, He'd treat coons, and then daytime, us boys, we'd hunt all night. We'd come in daytime, he'd start treeing squirrels. Just a little black dog. Really enjoyed him a lot.
It sounds like a good one. 2 bobcats in a night, huh?
Huh?
2 bobcats in one night, huh?
Oh, yeah. We caught them dogs. We used to, them cur dogs, they treated, back then, hides was high. I know a lot of people remember that. I remember when bobcats bring $100 for the hide,
Mm-hmm.
And if it clumb, possums, we kept everything, It was the good old days. There's a lot changed now. I think now that stuff, I don't even know if they take it or not. I don't know. I haven't kept up with it. But at one time, that fur would bring quite a bit of money.
Yeah. I haven't sold anything in a couple of years, but I know the highest I ever saw, I think, would have been about 2011. But I think I was in Kansas and had some big coons, but I think I got 27 and a half for prime jumbos.
Yeah. I had, I think, sold some up in Montgomery City one time, and they brought $31.50 straight. And then bobcats brought close to $100. I remember that. That's years. That's a lot of money. I know. I remember it was a little over $4,000 or $5,000 we had. We thought we was rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But like I said, I don't even know if they take that stuff anymore or not. I guess they still buy furs.
Yeah, I think the market's been pretty down. I think the market kind of got saturated, especially with coon, and it's just never really recovered. There's still so many put up, and the market's kind of went away.
Right. All I do now is mess with young dogs and train them young dogs for squirrels. I raise a whole litter of pups, probably once a year, and I keep the whole litter, and that's pretty well how I spend my time.
Yeah. What's the tell us a little bit about the conformation on most of the dogs you raise. What do they look like, and kind of what's that part of your breeding program look like?
Well, I've like the litter I got now. I got I think there's 3 brindles, some black and brindle, get yellow ones every now and then. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on what female you breed to, Mm-hmm. But for a long time, most of my dogs was pretty well black, brindles, saddlebacks. You know what a saddleback is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get a lot of saddlebacks. Yeah, it all depends, I probably get more dark brindles than anything. you know. But I mean, right now, my male dog and that 8-month-old dogs are both yellow dogs. You know, color really don't mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
I like the performance. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could tell you a story about that color if you want to hear it.
No, let's hear it.
I had a guy come here one time and he's wanting to buy a dog, and he told me, he said, I hate a yellow dog. And I had a brindle dog up there, and he tried it out and he bought it, and I had a yellow dog there, and he said, well, man, he said, I hate a yellow dog. And I said, well, you don't want to go with this one. And he said, why? Because I said, well, she's better than the one you bought. And so anyway, we took that yellow dog. He wanted to go to the woods with her, and I dumped her out. Man, she was a pretty stylish tree dog. She busted off down there and treed, and we got right there within where we see her, and I stuck my arm out, and I said, I hate a yellow dog. And he said, man, ain't that pretty? Makes a difference when they're on that tree, what color they are. You know what I mean?
Makes a big one.
Yeah. I never did. I don't know. My favorite dog's probably, if I had my pick, my favorite dog's a saddleback.
Yeah, it's hard to beat one painted up like that.
Yeah, that's my, you know what I mean? If I had to pick, but I don't, I'd rather have a good dog. You know what I mean? I don't care what color they are, really, to be honest with you. But saddleback's my favorite because I guess my dad, he had a saddleback. We had a saddleback when we was a kid, big male dog. And he was a heck of a dog. And you know how you kind of favor stuff like that when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked saddlebacks. And they're the hardest ones to get, too. You know that?
Yeah, it seems like they don't come around every litter.
Yeah, if you get the black and the yellow, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just the on the back. Now, like Mutt, he was black and brindle, you know. But to get one just black and yellow, it's they're the hardest.
Yeah, when we were talking earlier, I was telling you about that rip dog I had that was out of tank quite a few years back. He was a brindle and black saddleback.
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. Tank was brindle and black too. Yeah, he was a brindle and black dog. You know, Squaller was a black and brindle dog. I don't care. I mean, I really don't care what color they are. I just like a good dog.
Yeah.
But I gotta have a tree dog. That's I've always loved them tree dogs. You know, I like one that when you walk up there, you don't have to wonder what tree he's treed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody likes different type of dogs. So whatever you like, that's what you need to breed for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, you got any other good stories for us?
Oh, I probably got a lot of stories, but you know, not that I can think of.
What else can you tell us about the tank dog?
No Tank.
Mm-hmm.
That dog there, he loved coons. You know, he was tree squirrels, big nose. He loved them coons, and I sold that dog when he's about 5 years old, and I honestly don't think that dog ever hunted for anybody like he hunted for me, because the guy that bought the dog, he had him for probably about a year, and he come back up here and went hunting with me, and he had a guy with him. And when he got here, I petted him all up and that, you know what I'm saying? I raised him from a pup, and he was about 5 years old the first time I sold him. And then when he come back up here, we went hunting that day, and that guy, he told me, he said, man, he said, I'm telling you what, he said, I've never seen this dog hunt like that. And I said, well, that's all that's why he always hunted for me. And I don't think that dog, I think he bonded with me, but I don't think he ever bonded with anybody else like he did me. Sometimes them cur dogs will do that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But then I got where most of the times, very seldom I ever kept a dog until he was 4 years old. You know, usually I done, they're usually gone.
You mentioned earlier about whenever you were competition hunting. What dogs were you? Did you push in the comps?
Well, let me think. I had a dog called Mikey that I supered out. I had a dog called Tip that I supered out. I'm pretty sure Tank was supered out. A dog called Grizz, I supered him out. Uh, and I, I think, I'm trying to think. I had 6 or 7 of them that I supered out, and then usually I'd sell them.
Did you travel a lot when you were comp hunting, or just mostly kind of stick around a little
Yeah,
closer?
I went to, yeah, I mean, within the area, you know what I mean? I went to Iowa. I went there, won the Iowa hunt. I won the Missouri State Champion hunt. I won the Tennessee benefit hunt one time. Went to Jamestown. I've been there a few times. Trying to think, I can't even remember all the name of some of the. There was one in Indiana too. I just go all over. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Different places. I haven't done it in a long time. All I do now is, like I said, is mess with these young dogs, and I usually raise a litter pup. Getting too old for that kind of stuff, that competition hunting and stuff. Let them young boys have it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're young, huh?
Oh, I'm fairly 37.
Oh my gosh, you're in your prime then, ain't you? Huh?
I'm not doing too bad.
Well, you need your good competition dog then.
Yeah, I've got a little boy. I kind of waited a little while to have kids. I've got a little 6-year-old boy that's pretty ate up with dogs, and
Hmm.
we have a lot of fun messing with them.
Well, I tell you what, I got 6 grandsons, and they're all boys, and I've got one that's 11, and he loves them dogs. And I told him the other day, he comes over, he helps me in that, and I told him, I said, "You're going to be my dog man," you know. So he likes them. He's been messing with them ever since he was old enough to walk. He can handle them dogs.
Mm-hmm. That's a
He's 11, so
Yep.
hopefully I'm around long enough that them boys can take over.
Yeah.
Oh,
You mentioned your dad having and liking hounds. Did you say if you've ever kept hounds much?
oh yeah, I had hounds when I was younger, and that I loved them. I had never did have a registered hound. Always they was my dad's always was mixed up. You know what I mean? But yeah, I liked them. I liked hounds. The only thing I didn't like about them is back then when we didn't have all this shocking collar stuff back then. I mean, you want to break a dog, you had to run him down. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we never had no shocking collars, none of that stuff. And the only thing I didn't like about them, man, they bad about trash it. You know what I mean? Once you got them broke, it's all right. But now it's a whole different ball game. Now it's a lot easier now. But now you got the shocking collars and all that stuff, and it's pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I now like my cur dogs and that. My gosh, I don't even know if I'd turn one loose if I didn't have a tracking collar on it. There's a lot of things that's changed. Makes it a lot easier. I can tell you that. Yeah, I remember when we drive around look for them dogs all night long. A lot of times find them treed. You know.
What's
Yep.
what's
We
the
got her made now.
Yeah.
And tracking collars, and that's awesome.
What would you say the biggest changes that you've seen happen to the sport are?
to the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean like your competition stuff?
Well, just kind of in general. Maybe it's how the dogs have changed and gotten better, or maybe.
I
May,
think. I mean, myself, I think the dogs has gotten better. I mean, there might be some people disagree with that. I know my bloodline is uh, a lot better than when I started. I can tell you that. You know, uh, that's the biggest difference that I see now. You know, but back and the other thing I see back in when we was growing up, I mean, you could hunt about anywhere, and now it ain't like that. You get on people's property now, you know how it is.
mm-hmm.
Better have permission. That's a big difference now than what it was back then. You know, and back then, a lot of people they hunted to eat. You know, you killed squirrels. I mean, that was your supper. Nowadays, it's just more or less a sport. You know.
Yeah. I didn't know if maybe kind of the forums and then kind of Facebook pages and stuff like that, kind of connecting people's changed it much or.
Oh yeah, that's changed it a big. I mean, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, your dogs are people know a lot more. You know what I mean? A lot easier to sell a dog now than you used to be. People come from all over. You know, try a dog out. You meet a lot more people, and than what it used to be when I was growing up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's about like anything else. There's good and bad in it, you know. I think your bloodlines are, I mean, like I said, I believe dogs are better now than what they used to be. There might be some people disagree with that, but I know my bloodline is a lot better.
So you run your dogs on coon quite a bit at night, or mostly squirrel, or?
I used to. I've hunted them both night, but not anymore. I just squirrel hunt. You know, they tree coons in the daytime, uh, but mostly I just squirrel hunt now. But yeah, man, for a long time, I mean, I coon hunt. I'd coon hunt at night, squirrel hunt. I'd done both. Yeah, probably coon hunted more than I did squirrel hunt. Used to. Now it's the opposite. Now all I do is squirrel hunt. You know, I mean, every now and then I'll go coon hunting, but not nothing like once in a while. But it's mostly for me now. It's just squirrel hunting. But I still got the same kind of dogs. I mean, they soon trick coon as a squirrel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I like a big winded dog, big nose, and main things know how to use it.
Yeah. You messed with line breeding much over the years?
Yeah, yeah. I've I've done that. I've done that. Yep, yep.
How's that worked out? And
That's pretty good. I don't. Uh, if you do it right, I don't see a problem with it at all.
what kind of line were you doing? Like uncle niece crosses or what? How tight? I guess what I'm asking is how tight.
I,
How
I
tight
don't
did
like.
you do
I
well
don't like
with?
to get them too tight. You know what I mean? Uh, I bred son to daughter. You know what I mean? And turned out if I liked both of them, that's I've had that to turn out pretty good. I'll tell you uh, what I've learned over the years in breeding. You can take two sisters, and I've done this more than once. You can take two sisters and bring them to the same male dog, and that one sister have the awesomest pups you've ever seen. That other sister pups won't be worth a dime.
Huh.
I've seen it happen more than one time. I had a male dog here, and I bred him to another female, and I mean you couldn't beat them pups. And bred that same male dog to the sister, and them pups wouldn't be no good. This is the way I believe in breeding. You don't know until you do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when, I mean that's just the way it is. You can have two of the best dogs that and breed them together, and you might not get nothing. But I mean, I'm not saying that that's the way I breed to what I like, but that don't mean you're going to, you know what I mean? But then you can take another female and breed, and they're both be good dogs and get good dogs. But just because they're both good dogs don't mean you're going to get that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I've learned. I've done that 2 or 3 different times, bred sisters to the same male dog and get awesome dogs out of one. And then I had a female here one time that I bred to a male dog. Man, I'd get awesome pups out of her. And I bred her to a different male dog, and the pups they just wasn't no good. So you really don't know until you get her done. You know, if you find a cross that works, you better stick with it. You get a good brood female that those good tree dogs, and I mean what you like, that's what you better stick with. You know.
Yeah. To kind of jump down a different little rabbit hole, just kind of a random question, but if someone was to just be getting started squirrel hunting with a dog, what advice would you give them? Just kind of as a general advice.
Well, if somebody and you said they want to go buy them a dog,
well, just
started?
they're just getting interested in it. They don't have a dog yet.
Well, I find somebody, and I'd go hunting with the female dog and the male dog, if to make sure I liked them, and then I'd get me a pup out of that. If that's how you know what I'm saying. Now, if I was going to get started and just get started in it and wanted to buy me a dog, I would definitely know what kind of dog that I liked, and I'd go try it out. And if I liked it, that's where I'd get my start. But I would never go buy a dog from anybody unless I went to the woods with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then that way, if that dog ain't no good, it ain't nobody's fault but your own. But if it's a young person starting out and didn't know nothing about it, that's how I would do it. I'd buy me a pup out of somebody that's raised dogs. You know what I mean? That's got good dogs. I'd go hunting with them, and if I liked them, then that's where I'd get my start. And if you ever go to the woods with somebody and they say, "Man, that dog ain't never did that before," you know, I've never seen. Best thing to do is leave that dog with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because a good dog is pretty consistent. When you get a dog out, you can pretty well tell what it's going to do before you go to the woods. You know what I mean? He does that, and that's what you call a good dog. I don't think you got to make excuses up for a good dog.
Yeah.
You know. But if a young person starting out, that's what I'd do. I'd go hunting with the people that's wanting to sell a pup or something and make sure you like them dogs, and that's how I'd get my start. Start from there. Because there's a lot of good dogs out there. But everybody likes different style dogs, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I definitely don't want a dog to go in there 600 yards now and get treed. Now, at one time, that was my cup of tea, but no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I like a dog that I don't want to. I like a dog that stays busy. But you can really enjoy a dog hunt about 200-300 yards in circle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had one that hunted just about like that. My first one I ever had. I was pretty blessed, and it ended up being a pretty nice dog.
Yeah, this little pup I got now, that's the way he hunts, boy. I mean, I really enjoy. You know, he'll take a circle, about a 200-yard circle, but when he comes back by you, he's busy. He don't never stay around. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of dog I like right now. You know. They're a lot. I just pleasure hunt though, and I get them ones. I get them. And when you turn them loose, that flat go get treed. And when I get them caught like that, I usually let some young guy have him. you
Yeah.
know, I get him going real good, and then I let them there. Ain't hard to get rid of. That's what most people's wanting these days.
I'm looking for a couple of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Darrell, I have sure enjoyed chatting with you.
Well, I thank you.
Yeah.
Anytime I can help you, just give me a call.
All right. Well,
All right.
you
I
got
appreciate it.
you got any other have a good dog story pop up in your head to close us out on?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe the craziest deer race you've ever had.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you a story. Me and my brother, I had a half black and tan and a half walker. And man, he was a coon dog. I mean, and my brother, we was hunting one night, and I think I was probably 15 years old then, and we cut, and that this dog hit a coon, and we thought it was. My brother kept saying it was bobcat. Then he says I don't know what it's running, but he ain't running no coon. And man, this dog kept circling, making big circles. And this went on for a long time. And my brother said, "Why don't you go in there and catch him?" He said, "He's running trash." I said, "No, he ain't." I said, and we stood there. And finally, man, he sat down and treed. He gave that old long ball. And oh. I said, "There you go." I said, "He's got him a bobcat." And we walked in there to that dog. And what do you think he had?
Bobcat?
Nope. He had an old sow coon, and there was 4 kittens up that tree. He that old coon kept running, and he finally put her up, and that old sow had 4 kittens up that tree. I would have never dreamed that, because most of the time when he got after one, it didn't take him long, and he was treed. That's probably the best story I had when I was a kid that I remember. Because my brother, he kept hollering me, "Go in there and get that dog."
Hmm.
We used to trade them old bobcats all the time, though.
I've only ever treed one of them. I've ran them. I've had some races at night, but seemed like they like to bail out of the tree when you're walking into it. Whenever I get
Yeah,
after them, a lot of times.
yeah. Well, they'll bail out, but I'm gonna tell you something. If you got dogs that's fast enough to put the heat on them when they bail out, they'll take a treat the next time.
Yeah.
They're more apt to stay that second time.
Yeah.
I've had them bail like that. Yeah, but we hunted. We usually had a cur dog too. You know what I'm saying? And when they hit the ground, buddy, they'd put the heat on him, and he'd go up that second time, and usually we'd get him. But they can be aggravating, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hunted one night up in Kansas a decade or so ago, and we were hunting I think it was actually like a big deer hunting outfit, but it was late season. It was like early February, and
Mm-hmm.
they'd come to find out after we hunted it, they'd trapped a whole bunch of coon out of there, but there was cat tracks everywhere, and we didn't have nothing but cat races all night long. We never could get one to stay.
Yeah,
But
yeah. You got a dog that put the heat on them, buddy. And you get close enough, they'll go up. And then when they bail, and in fact, them dogs are right on him, they'll take the tree that second time, and they won't jump near as fast that second time if them dogs about to catch him.
mm-hmm.
You take a dog that can't push him, they'll run all night long.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, probably just needed some more dog power.
Yeah, yeah, a little more speed.
Yep,
That's what it takes. A little more speed.
yep. Well, once again, Darrell, thank you for agreeing to come on here and do an interview for us.
All
And
right, no problem. Anytime I can help you or help somebody, just give me a holler.
all right, well, everybody, take care and Keep wearing out that boot leather. I just want to give everyone that's listening a sincere thank you. Getting this podcast going has been a project. I really hope you're enjoying it, and if you don't mind, give the show a good rating and review wherever you're listening to it at, or share it on your social media to help get some traction. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to your feedback.